Okay, today we're going to do section 5.3.5, and this is called finding a tool. And you're going to use law of sines and law of cosines. But these are all application problems. So you guys have to know law of sines and law of cosines pretty well to be able to do these. So I'm going to give you two warm-up problems. We're going to do one, actually it's the same problem, it's the same triangle, but you're going to do law of cosines first, and then law of sines, and then you're going to solve for the third angle by just subtracting those angles from 180 degrees. At the very end of this, we're actually going to do the exact same problem that's on your guys' chapter test. Next Monday, you guys are taking your chapter test in class. I don't really want to send the chapter test home, so you guys should be back by then, but if you're not back, we're going to have you wait for that test. I am, you guys, this week, I believe it is, you guys have a quiz on Wednesday. I'm going to send home a quiz for you. And it's going to be a little different than the one in class. If you get an 80% or higher, that's just going to be your score for the quiz. You're going to have to do it over Zoom though, so I know nobody's using like internet resources or PhotoMath or anything like that. If you get an 80% or less, that just tells us we need to do some more work when you get back, so don't stress about it. Do your best on it. When you get back, if you didn't get an 80%, it's not going to be in the grade book. I'm going to help you guys through it, and we'll go through the stuff that's on it again, and then we'll have you retake that quiz. So don't stress about that. So we're going to go to our warm-up problem real quick. Okay, so here's your guys' problem. So remember, use law of cosines first. This is kind of our warm-up. Remember, law of cosines is a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc times the cosine of a. And then after that, you're going to use law of sines, which remember is the sine of angle A over side A equals the sine of angle B over side B equals the sine of angle C over side C. Then lastly, you're going to subtract your other two angles from 180. So that's called the triangle angle sum theorem. So remember, they should add to 180 degrees. That's what that means. So go ahead and do this problem. Do it on your own. Pause this video. When you come back, we're going to go through the answers together. Okay, let's go through this. You guys should have rounded to the nearest tenth. So we're going to do law of cosines first because it's side angle side, right? Remember that if you see side angle side, you're going to use law of cosines. We're solving for all the angles and all the sides on here. So we're going to do the first side that we need, which is A. So we're going to do a squared equals 18 squared plus 21 squared minus 2 times 18 times 21. Remember, we're just plugging in the other two sides. It doesn't matter if they're A or B or what, it's just the other two sides. Then we do times the cosine of the angle that's across from the side we want. So go ahead and type that in your calculator. I did not do that yet. So 18 squared plus 21 squared minus 2 times 18 times 21 times the cosine of 121. Okay, so when you do that part, you should get 1,154.36. Doesn't really matter because you're going to press that second answer button, right? When you do second square root, second answer, because we have to do the square root of both sides, right? Because those are the opposite. That means A equals approximately. So A is approximately 34 if you do round to the nearest tenth. That's actually not degrees. Sorry, that's miles. So label this as 34 miles. Now we're going to use law of sines. So remember, you take your angle that's across from the side you have. That's kind of your controlled proportion. So you have the sine of 121 over 34 equals, and we're just going to do one of these other angles. So let's do C and this other side. So we're going to do the sine of angle C over C, which is 21, because these two pieces go together. It's just the side and the angle across from each other. So now you need to do that sombrero. So you're going to do 21 times the sine of 121 over 34 equals the sine of C. Remember, that just means we're going to do the sine inverse at the end. So go ahead and type that in. 21 times the sine of 121 divided by 34. Ooh,
529.
I did not type that in right. Yep, 529. Okay, so you should get the sine of C is approximately 0.529. It doesn't matter because then you do the sine inverse and you do answer. So do second sine inverse, second answer. And you should get that it's approximately 32 degrees. That's if you round to the nearest tenth. So this would be 32 degrees. Now, you've got all the hard stuff done. Just subtract those other angles from 180. So we have 180 degrees minus 121 degrees minus 32 degrees. And what did you get, Emily? 27? Mm-hmm. So the last one's 27 degrees. So that's an example of a law of sines and a law of cosines all in one. Today, I think our application problems, you only have to do one or the other. They're just application problems. It's nothing harder. It's just in a real world situation, but they draw out the whole diagram for you, so they really kind of make it not even an application problem. So let's try the first one. Okay, so this is 5.3.5. It says, during this section, you have developed new tools such as the law of sines and law of cosines to find the lengths of sides and measures of angles of a triangle. These strategies are very useful because they work with all triangles, not just right triangles. So that's really why we did this. Remember, in class, you guys were all here for this. We had that paper, and there were a bunch of those you guys couldn't do. That's because they weren't right triangles. So now you can solve for those ones that aren't right triangles. So it says, but when is each strategy the best one to use? And today you will focus on which strategy is most effective to use in different situations. You will also apply your strategies to triangles in different contexts. As you work on these problems, keep in mind that good communication and a joint brainstorm of ideas will greatly enhance your team's ability to choose a strategy and to solve these problems. I'm going to help you guys through these, so there's your collaboration. So this first one is Lake Tofty. I think the one on your guys' test is actually Saratoga Lake, is what it says. So it says a bridge is being designed to connect two towns along the shores of Lake Tofty in Minnesota. I don't know if that's how you say that or not. One at point A and the other at point C. Levain is, or has been given the responsibility of determining the length of the bridge. Since he cannot accurately measure across the lake, AC, that's what he wants to find, I'm just going to label that with like an A. Actually, I'm going to label it with a B because it's across from side B, because that's what we want to know. He drove a stake into the ground at point B and found that AB, so AB is 684 feet. He also used a protractor to determine that the measure of angle B is 79 degrees. And the measure of angle C is 53 degrees. How long will the bridge need to be? Okay, I want you guys to go ahead and pause your video, draw this diagram. While you guys do that, I'm also going to draw this diagram larger. Okay, so I redrew this, you guys, so that you can see it, so I'm going to erase this other stuff. This is what your diagram should look like. You can see we don't have side angle sides, right? So that just tells you right there, we're not going to use law of cosines. You have a side that you need across from an angle.
Because that was one of the warm-ups.
Okay, so you should have used, yeah, this was like one of the warm-ups. So you should have used law of sines. So you should have the sine of 79 over B, because we don't know that one. Then you have angle C and 189 feet. So you should have the sine of 53 over, not 189, 689 feet. Then you need to use that sombrero. And this one's actually easier because you don't have to use a sine inverse, right? So you should have 689 times the sine of 79 divided by the sine of 53. And put that in your calculator. $689 times the sine of 79 divided by the sine of 53. Okay. Okay, you should have gotten this equals B, right? That B is approximately 846.9 feet if we round to the nearest tenth. Okay, let's go ahead and do the next part. I think the next part plays off of this part. Okay, so part 2 says Levain, I don't know if that's how you say that or not, you guys, was not convinced that his measurements from problem 5-118 were correct. He decided to measure the distance between towns A and C, again using a different method to verify his results. This time he decided to drive a stake in the ground at point D, which is 800 feet from town A. So that means this is 800 feet. And 694 feet from point C. Ooh, this is a little different. He also determined that the measure of angle D is 68 degrees. Using these measurements, how wide is the lake between A and C? So this is going to be D now. We're going to use law of sines for this. Go ahead and pause, try this on your own, and then when you guys come back, we're going to check our answers together. Okay, for you guys, it's a special thing that you have to do on your homework when you turn it in this time so that I know you watched the video. Your special thing that you have to do is draw your favorite emoji face on your homework. It has to be school appropriate though. Okay, when you guys looked at this one, you should have noticed that it's side angle side. Side angle side automatically means you're going to use law of cosines. So let's do D squared equals the first side squared plus the second side squared minus 2 times the first side times the second side times the cosine of 68 degrees. Go ahead and type that in your calculator. 800 squared plus 694
Whoa.
squared.
It's a big number.
It should be a really big number. Times 2 times 800 times 694 times the cosine of 68. That is a really big number. So D squared is approximately 70,000. Oh wait, that's 705,672.8387. Which you're going to do the answer button anyways, so it doesn't matter how many you write down. So square root both of those sides, and D is approximately, so square root, second answer.
840.
Yep, 840. And it's feet, right? So there's your answer. Okay, we're skipping a couple problems, you guys. This is the one that we're going to do next. We're not doing all the problems for this section because we're going to replace one of them with the test question. I chose this one, though, because it has Euclid and Pythagoras, which is kind of a cool nerdy math thing, but it'll be fun. So it says your basketball team has made it to the semifinals and now needs to win only 2 more games to go to the finals. Your plan is to leave Philadelphia, travel 138 miles to the town of Euclid, it's labeled on there, lucky you, to play the team there. Then you will leave Euclid, travel to Pythagoras and play that team. Finally, you will travel 97 miles to return home. Your team bus can only travel 300 miles on 1 tank of gas, assuming that all of the roads connecting the 3 towns are straight, and that there are 2 roads that connect in Philadelphia from a 28-degree angle. Will 1 tank of gas be enough for the trip? Justify your solution. You guys, these are really important because you are finding this length over here. I'm just going to name this little p. Okay, so I'm going to name this little p. Sorry, you guys, my Apple Pencil died. I'm having a hard time with it today, actually. So we want to find that little p distance. However, that's not the answer to the problem. We need that to say the answer to the problem. The answer to the problem is, will 1 tank of gas be enough for the trip? So that those 3 sides added together has to be less than 300 miles. We have side angle side here, so that automatically tells you you're going to use law of cosines. Okay, so there's your equation. So let's go ahead and do the law of cosines. So we should have p squared equals, can you guys go ahead and pause this and try this on your own? When you come back, we're going to do this together. I have to wait a couple seconds. Okay, so let's do 97 squared plus 138 squared. Remember, these are just the other 2 sides squared. Minus 2 times the other 2 sides times the cosine of the angle across from the side that you need. So go ahead and type that in your calculator. So 97 squared plus 138 squared minus 2 times 138 times 97 times the cosine of 28 is a really big number. P squared, not as big as last time though, is approximately 4,814.7270, whatever, doesn't matter, because you're going to type an answer. So square root both sides, those are the opposites. So P is approximately, type in second, square root, second, answer. 69.3, is that what you got? Or 69.4? And this is miles. So this is 69.4 miles. So now we need to add those together and see if they are less than 300. So you're going to do 138 plus 97 plus 106, oh, whoa, not 169, 69.4, and see what you get. What did you get, Emily?
299.4. So it barely makes it.
Ooh, I got more than that. Did I type something in wrong? I got 304.4. Try typing yours in again. This is what I got. 69, not 64. So I got 304.4 miles. So that's greater than 300, so no. They could not make it on 1 tank of gas. Okay, this is the actual test problem for Chapter 5 test, which you guys are going to take on Monday. So you probably should pay attention to this. So it says, Bob thought about swimming across Saratoga Lake. He knows that he can swim about 1,000 meters. He decided that he would feel more confident if he knew how far he would have to swim. To determine the length of the lake, he posts at both ends of the lake points A and B, and a third post on the side of the length, point C. The distance between the posts are shown in the diagram. He measured the angle between the two posts and found that it was 150 degrees. Use this information to determine the length of the lake. Do you think that Bob will be able to swim between points A and B? Really, that last one, so he knows he can swim about 1,000 meters. If you guys don't answer that question, whether he can or cannot swim that distance on the test, you just got a 4 out of 5 for just not saying whether he could or not. You did all the math on it. You just have to answer the question. So you need to answer, do you think that Bob can swim between A and B? Okay, so this is side angle side, right? So we automatically know we should use law of cosine. So please go ahead and pause this video. Try it on your own. I'm going to walk you guys through some of the steps afterwards. I may or may not do the whole thing with you guys. I haven't really decided yet because it is a test problem. So go ahead and pause. Try this on your own. Okay, so we're going to go through this together a little bit. I'm going to help you guys just with this equation. This is side C that we're trying to find because we want to find the length of that Saratoga Lake. I don't know if this is actually the length of Saratoga Lake. I haven't checked this or not. So we're going to do C squared equals the other two sides squared and added together minus the other two sides. No, just the length across the lake. So 620, 455 times the cosine of that angle across from the side we need. And what'd you get, Emily? Like 1 million?
It was 1,080,000.
1,080,000.
83,000. Oh, it was 80,000.
And 36, I think.
Yes.
Point something, 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 right? It doesn't really matter because you do square root of an answer. Now, once you do that, you should get the length of Saratoga Lake. If it is over 1,000 meters, we know he can't swim more than 1,000 meters. That's his pushing it limit. I think Emily got an answer that was barely over 1,000 meters. So on your quiz or your test or whatever, if you said it's 1,000 something meters and you said it's really close, so he might be able to make it, but it's over 1,000 meters, so he might not. That would also be okay. So your guys' homework for tonight is 126, 127, 129, 134, and 136. Make sure you guys turn that in on Schoology. If you guys have issues with that, go ahead and email it to me. I'm going to check my grades today because I'm having a hard time with it syncing over from Schoology. So if you guys have questions on that, please email me. See you tomorrow, Emily.
Yeah.
Okay, if you guys have questions, email me. Make sure you do your favorite emoji on your homework to where I can see it because you guys get half credit if you don't do it.